I think we're live. Oh my goodness. It's called Unplugging and Plugging the Camera. Maybe the heat got to the camera.
Okay, Wendy Chu.
How is the humidity? How is the humidity today?
It's a little humid. It's not too bad. I don't mind it. It's kind of a little tropical.
It's not as bad as Florida.
No, it's not as bad as Florida or Houston or the Gulf Coast.
Well,
but
wait, I want to say something real quick in case we lose our camera. I wanted to start off Wonderful Wednesdays. I've talked about that. And normally I would say, I would come on, and I will come on. I want to thank my parents, my mom and my dad, for everything they've done for me. And that's real basic. Most people would do that. But I want to also start on Wednesdays, if we can find the time to come on, to thank people that have helped us. And today I want to start with John Kohler from Growing Your Greens. I've never met the guy, but Gary got me hooked on, you got me hooked on. And this is how we started our gardening, because I used to garden as a kid, and you used to garden. We all gardened.
I used to garden in Australia.
And then here it was miserable to garden. And then when you went gluten-free, you started watching his videos, and he encouraged you to start growing our own. And then we went gun-ho. So for Wonderful Wednesday, I want to thank John Kohler. He's got a YouTube channel called, what's it called?
Learn Organic Gardening.
Learn Organic Gardening.
At Growing
Your Greens. And I think everybody should check him out, because he's kind of like us. Grow what you can. So that's all I wanted to start in case the camera goes off. I want to thank him for getting us going in the gardening. Now, let's talk about the weather. I think everybody on Wednesdays, you've got Throwback Thursdays. I think everybody on Wednesday, if you've got a Facebook, an Instagram, Pinterest, thank somebody, and don't even tell them. It could be your neighbor, and just say something nice about people. I think it'd be really nice if on Wednesdays people just took the time to say something nice about anybody. That's just my opinion. If you don't like it, that's okay. All right, now, how's the weather? We have a blank screen here.
No, they've posted comments. What you see there are the comments posted on the blank videos that have already gone up, I guess. So
I don't have a scroll bar, Gary. Oh, this is not working.
See, the chat is up the top there.
How do I get to the chat?
No, that's there. It should be there, I think.
Okay, well, we have 6 people, so, but it's not scrolling like it usually does. There's something on YouTube today.
Yeah, there's something with their system.
Yeah, because for 2 hours we couldn't get on, and then it couldn't find the camera, and now it found the camera. So you can hear us, and can you see us? Can anybody see us?
Yes, Anita Johnson can see us.
Oh,
there you are, woohoo. The other 2 comments, here we go.
There we go.
Hi from the UK again. Okay, Margaret Burns was here Sunday, which was almost there Monday. Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to think. They're 11 hours ahead.
I don't know. But if anybody's got questions, this is a good time to ask us, because there's like 1,000 questions, and I'm trying to go through, and he's trying to go through, and we try to answer what we can. I know we've had a couple people get mad because we haven't gotten to their questions, but literally there's like 1,000. And as we answer, it's like I'll go in, and another 100 or 200 have come in. So I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to go do something while Gary answers questions. This is a zucchini that I got in my garden. Look at something ate it. And I don't know what.
Good morning from Oz again.
Oh.
Okay.
So I'm going to pickle this, and Gary can answer your questions.
Okay.
Or talk about gardening. I'm going to make pickles out of zucchini, and I'm going to peel it because this zucchini stayed on the plant too long. I hear beeping.
Yeah, it's could be across the street.
I wonder if you're getting a load of wood chips.
No, I think they're working cross the street.
Okay.
So they might be getting a load of construction material or something. We don't really have much of a problem with the mosquitoes in the fountains, because we flush the fountains fairly frequently, like at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. Weather like this will be a couple of times a day. My pond has mosquito-eating fish in it, so there's no mosquito larvae in the pond. But the mosquitoes come around whether there's water or not. So we do have mozzies that come up here and, bite us, I guess.
What bites us?
Mosquitoes, yeah.
Yeah, we do have mosquitoes. But the bird bass, you flush those, and they've got a lot of running water. They don't seem to lay their eggs in running water.
Yeah, they don't like running water. They prefer still water. And for those of you that don't know, mozzies are mosquitoes, but that's, I guess, English slang or British slang, which is also Australian and probably New Zealand slang. Okay, I think they're having trash pickup at our neighbours. That's what the beep was. I don't know whether that picked up on the microphone or not.
I heard beeping.
Yes, it is.
My dill is starting to go to seed, so I took some the other day and picked it and I froze it. And I'm going to put it in the jar on the bottom. I already washed it. I better wash it again. And I'm going to make zucchini, and I pickle it. I pickle it really simple. I just use salt, and I cut up zucchini. And the reason I peeled it is because it was on the plant too long. This is so good. This is usually eaten within 2 or 3 days. We had a jar. I can prove it. And I made it a couple days ago. And it's empty. We were going to sit and eat it live, but he finished it. But now you can slice up eggplant or put eggplant in here because the brine's already made.
Yeah, the brine's already made.
For eggplant, and then just leave it in the fridge.
Our dill is kind of coming to an end. It came up as volunteer all over the place, and we did not replant it. We should have constantly planted seeds to keep it sort of going. So now we're going to have to plant more seeds from the dill that's already gone to seed now and water it in. If we don't water it, it won't grow. So we've got a lot of volunteers that come up after the winter rain, and then during the summer we don't get any summer rain. Really, rarely we get summer rain. So it's very dry here right now.
We do get some monsoons that come through Arizona, but literally that's in August, usually 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, right now the monsoons are kind of coming across, but once they hit the mountains, they drop the water up in the high deserts, and it doesn't really get to the coast. Occasionally we get tropical weather coming up from hurricanes in off Mexico from the south. Occasionally we get rain from that.
Oh, if you've got a vegetable garden going in the heat, cucumbers aren't even fazed by the heat. We've got so many cucumbers. I just planted them like a few weeks ago, literally about 3 weeks ago, and they are just growing like mad, and the leaves don't even get wilted or anything from the heat. So cucumbers, and I would go with the smaller ones because you'll get a production really quick. Otherwise, you got to wait till they get big like tomatoes. But we've been picking cucumbers. I got more to pick, and I'm going to pickle some and make an onion with cucumbers and onion. I'm going to make a salad out of it too. I'm going to move some of those questions around so you can see them.
Yeah, those are comments at the bottom there.
These are comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can see. Oh, it's dry in the UK?
Yeah, that's why all Europe, that's hot and dry in a lot of places of Europe. That's why in Greece there's those major fires. So Europe's getting hit, I believe, with a heat wave. I mean, hot, yeah, it's... What'd you say? It was like 100 degrees?
Right now I looked on the deck, it's 100.
Yeah, I've got a...
And other areas are much hotter than us.
Yeah, which is roughly 40 degrees Celsius. It's 116 degrees in Arizona. Yeah,
How hot?
116.
Oh, boy, how's your garden doing in Arizona? I probably have a lot of it in the shade.
Something's come up on the computer.
Oh, let me get that. I'll get that. Just close that up. Reminders to update.
Yeah, we're in Southern California. We're in Sunset Zone 23, USDA Zone 10A. So we can grow a lot of sort of tropical and semi-tropical or subtropical plants. 30 degrees in the UK, which is, I've got a thermometer in the kitchen, which is about 85 degrees. Yeah, that's pretty warm for the UK.
Pickles. You should make pickles. We've made cabbage and collard and the zucchini. I have so much zucchini. That makes the greatest pickles. I grew up with my dad making pickles. He was the pickle man in our area. But I do it differently than him. And I fill up my jar, and then I put in bottled water. Now I'm going to add salt, and I just put as much salt in as I like the taste. And I use salt that doesn't have iodine. Need a spoon. And then I just pour it back and put it off to the side. It's so easy.
Okay.
But that doesn't look good.
No, that's not good. The live chat screen just
We just lost our live chat, so I'm thinking you're still there. Or not.
See, I'm thinking it is a YouTube glitch because the live chat should have stayed up there. So maybe they're working on the system. And
they had some issues the other day. I guess there's still people there, but we cannot answer your questions. There are no questions to answer. Oh boy. Well, here we went on Sunday and expected nobody to watch. I do not double dip. I taste the salt. Okay, that's too salty. So now, because my water tastes too salty, I'm going to add a little bit more water. This is how simple it is. I don't measure anything. Now I'm just going to pour water back in, if anybody's interested, and if not, it doesn't matter. I'm making it for ourselves. And the lid we use to make any type of pickles or sauerkraut is one of these, so you can screw it on, but not real tight, so it can burp if it needs to. That's it. Now I'm going to have pickled zucchini, and I'll tell you something, it tastes just like pickles. And I'll put it off on the side here on the counter, not in the sun. And it will be done within, well, we'll probably start eating it tomorrow. It'll be done in a couple days. Let's see if I can figure out what's going on. So now we have no live chat. I think we still have people. It's back. It's back. Oh, technology. Like I said, we tried out on Sunday expecting 0 people just to see how the camera worked. And it worked really good. I mean, everything went good. Today, we've been trying since noon, 2.5 hours. And okay, Florida, 90 and raining.
85 in Northeast, Anita Johnson, 85 and humid in Northeast Illinois. So that's up against the Great Lakes. So I imagine that would create some humidity. But 85 is pretty high for up there too, I believe.
I'm going to get closer to read this. Is that Jackie? Yes, Jackie. So Jackie's pickling tomatoes.
Picking.
Oh, no, you're right. I've got a glare from the window on my side, so it's harder to read my monitor. Even though it's a big monitor, it's still with the glare. So you're picking tomatoes, but you can pickle tomatoes too.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I'm going to go check that.
From memory, Jackie Comer might have been in Queensland, which I'm trying to think. You grow a lot of things in the winter because you get less rain. It's better to grow things in the winter than it is in the summer. Yes, that's right.
That was my brother telling me, can see us and hear us now. Los Angeles. Yeah. That's my brother.
And
my
your mom and dad are watching too.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Okay, it's not as hot in southeastern Queensland during the winter, so it's a better growing climate. better time to grow your cooler vegetables, things that don't really like the heat.
Well, here we can start getting ready for the fall if we wanted to. Your kale, your green stuff, you can start in about a month and plant them inside and bring them outside or leave them out there. Our greens grow all year round.
Yeah.
Are they real seasonal? Where you were just telling me about?
It's subtropical.
So, like, do the plants die out completely and you start over? Or
Think
no?
of where Jerry Colby Williams lives. From Gardening Australia.
Yeah.
That's that general area, how he grows.
So it's the same.
And even Rob Bob too.
It's not as hot.
It's not as hot in the winter, yeah. It cools down a little bit.
See, our heat really is starting now because we'll be hot in Southern California, which we are hot today. Geez, all through August and September, like when the kids go back to school, it's really hot. We don't tend to get our first real rain until around Halloween, October. And we lost our chat again. Yeah, there's definitely some sort of glitch and it's back again.
Rob is half an hour away from me. Okay. So that I've got a good idea of that part of Queensland. I never made it up that far. I made it up as far as Coffs Harbour, a little bit further north of Coffs Harbour, which is northeastern New South Wales, if people are interested that aren't familiar with Australia. So Coffs Harbour is kind of where the bananas start growing. People start farming bananas from there a little to the north. So if anyone's wondering about the climate, it's subtropical.
You've got a lot of bananas on the plants right now.
Yeah,
how are they making it through the heat?
They're doing okay. The leaves got hit really hard.
I saw that.
My plantains got hit the hardest, but they're more tropical than the other bananas that I've got. The other bananas are what I would call cool bananas. Cool. They can handle a cooler climate. So
they do okay in the winter?
They do okay all year round.
All year round.
The cool ones. But they can handle a cooler climate because some varieties of bananas are really tropical.
Yeah, see, off and on our chat disappears. I can post more. You know when I'll do more cooking videos? Probably in the winter when it cools down. That's when I'll do more cooking videos. We'd love to try new recipes. Yeah, there's a lot of different things, especially now that we've gone gluten-free. And gluten-free does not mean going to the store and buying everything that says gluten-free. No, you really have to start eating more fresh food. That's the way we look at it.
Okay. Yeah, Margaret Burns, she immigrated to Melbourne in 1954 from the UK. She must have returned to the UK at some point. Yeah, I haven't really said exactly the name of the town I'm from because there's kind of an internet etiquette just to give a rough idea of where you're from. And I'm from north of Melbourne, about an hour and a half north. So that will give people a general idea where I'm from. So she'll probably be familiar with the area if she spent a little bit of time, especially in Melbourne. My sister lives in Melbourne.
New England.
But I only can do what you do from June through the end of October. What can I do with such a short growing season? Well,
definitely, if you're going to grow tomatoes or vining plants like cucumbers, I would go with the small varieties because you can harvest them quicker and they don't have to stay on longer. So I would definitely do that. Greens, it depends on what you like. You want to grow what you like, and you want to grow things that are more expensive in the store. That doesn't mean making an orchard with apples and oranges and all that, but greens are expensive. So if you like greens, pick the greens that you like. Herbs, you could probably grow a lot of herbs indoors too during the winter, I would think. But definitely anything you decide to grow, I would go with the smaller variety on that because instead of having to stay on the plant so long, you'll be able to harvest more food during all that time. That would be my thing. Even though we have a long growing season, I still prefer to grow a lot of smaller variety things. Eggplant, you can do eggplant. You can pick those at any size.
Yeah, and you can also extend your season by using herb houses, or I'm trying to think what they're called now. They're like growing boxes where you've got a pane that you can lift up and down, pane of glass that you can raise or lower, like lower it at night and open it up during the day to let fresh air come in. So there's a couple of tricks that you can do to a cold frame. That's what it's called. Thanks, Jackie. Yeah, you could use a cold frame. In New England, I think, see, the Atlantic gets warmer than the Pacific. So during the summer, your nighttime temperatures may not cool down as much. So even though you've got a shorter growing season, your plants might grow, some plants might grow better there than here because they it doesn't cool down at night. If it doesn't cool down at night, it'll sort of spur the growth.
But do they get snow?
Depending on how far.
Going out there with
if
snow.
They're coastal, they'll probably rarely get snow, but it'll get cold but without the snow. Chard seeds. Chard really grows really well here because it likes the warm weather. It can handle the heat.
And it grows in the winter.
And it grows in the winter too.
Because not last year, the year before, a whole bunch of seeds fell all over the ground and we had this rain spell, and then it looked like a field of green. So that's real easy. You should be able to grow that easily anywhere, and summer or winter.
Yeah. In Australia,
mine's bolting right now.
In Australia, I lived in the equivalent of 9B, zone 9B, and we got a frost, and that was our main vegetable, our main grain.
The hummers. We're hit with a heat wave right now, and the hummingbirds, I'm looking over because my feeder's back there. The hummingbirds, a lot of them have left. This time, they left before the heat wave hit really bad, and I think that they're going into cooler areas. Here, I don't have as many problems of bullies for some reason, where they'll take over the feeder, but now that it's hot, you've got them where they're sharing, and that's good too. And sometimes I've seen where hummingbirds, one hummingbird will take over a feeder, and then come evening, they'll all feed. It's almost as if the hummingbird knows the flower is going to die, so he doesn't block the flower in the evening. But being so hot in Arizona, they're probably not in the mood to fight with one another too.
Yeah.
Definitely keep your hummingbird feeders apart. So this way, if he builds a territory around it, you'll have hummingbird feeders further apart so he won't have two territories. Otherwise, he'll protect two. So keep them if you've got more than one. I've got multiple feeders around here.
Yeah, I'm thinking in the heat, they're going to want to conserve energy, so they're not going to be in the mood to fend off other birds. So they probably
Where's Jackie from?
The UK.
Okay.
No, Queensland, I should say.
Okay. So no frost yet this winter. They didn't have any last year either.
Yeah.
You might be able to grow a lot. There is a guy I met at Home Depot one day, and we were talking, and he grew tomatoes at Lake Arrowhead in the snow in December because he was growing them up against his house, he told me, and he attached some plastic and he draped it down against the house. And while it was snowing, he still had tomatoes growing up against his house because the house would stay a little warm. And he had plastic, a big sheet of plastic draped down. So he made himself his own little microclimate, and he was growing tomatoes in the winter.
Yeah. Well, even though they're subtropical, they can grow whatever we can grow, they can grow. Whatever they can grow, where Jackie Comer lives. So they can grow papayas, bananas, mangoes, different things like that.
Well, that's interesting. Wow. What else should we talk about? I just can't believe the camera finally worked because I thought that was it. Let's see, stories. I'm going to say, how do we get into gardening? I always gardened a little bit, and I grew a little bit here and there, but it was such a pain because you had to go buy. We had to buy so much. What do you call it? Potting soil and garden soil because the ground is so bad here. But when you got the wood chips, that helped. And then what we do is two different types of gardening. I also do container gardening, and with container gardening, I can grow anything. It doesn't matter what the ground's like. So we got into gardening heavy because you went gluten-free.
Okay, Ashley G dropped off and she's back on. I guess she was on with the blank screen.
She's on with the blank screen.
I recognize some of the names because I've been doing feedback. If I don't recognize your name, it may not mean that I haven't, read your feedback or your comments. There's a few names I'm just starting to, remember.
But that's basically it. So I started container gardening because I can control it. Somebody asked me on Sunday what made me start growing in containers. And originally I set up containers because I was taking food scraps. I was going to dump it, let it rot, and turn it a little bit, and then put it in with all my plants. But what was happening is I was throwing in tomato seeds, of course. We ate tomatoes or squash or something, and everything started growing in my containers, literally growing in the containers I set up with no soil in there. So I had squash growing all over, and that's when I realized there's no reason to wait. The plants want to grow in the rotting food. And that's what, whoever asked me that question, that was the reason I decided, no, I'm just going to start growing in the matter that I'm setting up, all the food matter, and just let it grow. And sometimes I top it with a little broken down wood chips or potting soil or garden soil. Isn't this cool? A zucchini. Oh, you can't see it real good. I don't know, let me see if I can bring it up. See that? It looks like a pumpkin. It's yellow and it's got orange stripes. That was a surprise. That's what happens when you grow zucchini and spaghetti squash and little pumpkins around. They hybridize and you'll end up picking something that looks like a zucchini. You'll keep the seeds and you end up with all kinds of stuff. There's another one. I just picked this. Let's see if you can see this. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, if they're cultivars from the same species of squash.
Right. They have to be from the same species, but that is really cool. They taste good. They all taste really, really good. So we're growing all kinds. Even this one looks like a gourd. That's the way it grew. Just picked that one too. This one, I picked this in September. And it's as good as could be as the day I picked it. And I need to cut it open. I'm probably going to not eat it, but cut it open. But the problem is, when I cut this open, the seeds may have already started to grow or get real plump. They'll be alive. So when I cut this open, I've got to make sure I want to plant almost all the seeds because I probably won't be able to dry them because I let it sit too long. Can you imagine? Look how nice this is. And this has been sitting on my kitchen counter since September. Beautiful, beautiful squash. I do want to plant that soon. I want to get that going.
I think Margaret Burns asked about the saline solution, the salt solution for your pickles.
The salt,
what you put in. I think she asked twice now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't measure anything. So what I did was I just cut up a zucchini, and because the zucchini was not like a young pickle or a small zucchini, I peeled it, stuffed my jar. My jar was really clean. And then I topped it with water, and I used bottled water only because if you use sink water, there's chlorine or chloramine in it, and it won't ferment because the chlorine will inhibit the proper growth. And I fill it with water, then I poured it out, and I put it in a glass, and I added in some salt to it. And then as soon as I like the taste, for me or Gary, we like it not, salty, but it doesn't have to be like real salty. I poured it back in, topped it, and I don't measure. My dad's a measurer, but I don't measure. And now this will sit here, and this will be, we'll start eating it tomorrow, but it'll be done in this heat. It'll be done in a couple days, and it tastes just like pickles. If you're using young zucchini, like little ones, you won't have to peel it, just like you wouldn't peel I wouldn't peel these when I do this. Those are cucumbers. But because it was an older zucchini, it was too big already, I peeled it. But I just do it. I don't, like I said, I never cook with measurements. I just made sure the water tasted salty and poured it back in. Yeah. And that was it.
Salt without iodine.
Yeah, no iodine, just regular salt. You can use Morton salt. We have Morton salt here, but sea salt, I've used Himalayan salt, the pink salt, just regular salt, but no iodine in it.
And it is cold water too.
Cold water, yes, cold water.
Peppercorn.
Oh, you know what? Jackie's saying if you have water on the counter.
If you leave water on the counter,
the chlorine will evaporate off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our wonderful city sometimes puts chloramine in and doesn't tell us, and that doesn't evaporate off. I can tell when I take a shower. I start to burn, and then I call the city, and it's like, oh yeah, we had to use it for a few days. So I just use bottled water for that. But she's right.
Yeah.
Yes, you can let the water sit. But this way I just use, you don't use that much water anyway, so you use bottled water. You were saying? Oh, peppers?
Yeah.
My dad has
peppercorn, pepper. Like the corn before you grind.
No,
pepper?
I know that.
Okay.
Black, yeah, my dad makes pickles where he's got a whole recipe. I mean, he puts in all kinds of spices. I don't. I don't know why. I don't. But you can put peppercorn in it. That's true. That is true. But I just use salt, and there is dill. Oh, I'm sorry. There's dill in here too. We grow dill, and I like dill, so I have dill in here. I froze some dill because our dill is going to seed. So I haven't used frozen dill yet. It should be fine. But we have some fresh dill too. So all I put in is dill and salt. But you are right, peppercorn. And if you ask my dad, I think he puts coriander and all kinds of stuff in it. So it's kind of like whatever you like. It's whatever you like to eat.
And you can put garlic in it?
Yes, my dad's put garlic in it too. That's true. We don't have garlic. We forgot to grow garlic.
Yeah, this year we didn't grow garlic.
We forgot to grow garlic and onions. It was like all of a sudden we realized, uh-oh, and it was too late.
We had such a mild winter that everything kept growing. So we didn't really plant a lot, and it threw us off a little bit. So normally we'd sort of think, oh, what are we going to plant this coming year? And we'd get things together. This year we didn't really.
I know, we didn't. Usually I usually get garlic, and I plant garlic October, and completely forgot. I don't know what happened. Completely forgot.
Leonard Shuck. How about a little red pepper flakes for a little heat?
Is that what my dad does? Probably. That would be good. It's whenever, the thing is you add in what you like.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I'm hooked on dill. Oh, I love dill. I brought in a bunch of seeds, and I'm going to try to grow it everywhere. I hope it doesn't bolt right away, but I'm going to try to grow it in the shade. I've got some lettuce growing in the shade now, so I can't put it in the sun. It'll grow, but it'll bolt right away. You get these little leaves, and then you get a big spike. And if you cut the spike, it doesn't work. It won't stop it from bolting. So I'm going to try to grow some dill in the shade.
Yeah, this year we grew, in my garden, the walkway, the staircase down to my garden, I grew a lot of dill as volunteers. But it's pretty much gone now, but that is a good plant to have around. Because it's, if you go to the store, it's something, if you have to buy it, you're going to pay a lot of money for it.
I know, little pieces, they'll charge you a few bucks for it.
And you only need a little bit, but if you grow it yourself, you can use as much as you like.
Yeah, that's why it's really good to grow greens and stuff, because it's so expensive to buy that. I don't know. I'm trying to grow things that we like, and I need to get some more things growing. I grew some cucumbers last year, and the only cucumbers I found were halves here and there that the squirrels had taken and eaten. Now I've got them on a trellis, and I can see the cucumbers, so I can pick them as quick as I need them. And that's the thing, is you grow things you're going to eat. I grow a lot of walking onions. I love my walking onions. You can eat the greens, you can eat the bulbs, you can eat the whole thing. We got more questions.
Okay.
Egyptian, you've been looking for Egyptian walking onions.
Yeah. Where did we first see them?
John Kohler had them on.
No, it wasn't John Kohler. It was It wasn't Costa Georgiatus. It was
on Gardening Australia.
Gardening Australia. Tino on Gardening Australia was growing them in Tasmania.
That's right. I found them on eBay, and somebody sent me a whole bunch, like I don't know, it was like 10 of them or something. It wasn't that much money, but I only needed to buy them the one time. So I found mine on eBay. What
in Australia you'll be able to find them somewhere.
Okay, because we know that's right, because that's where we found out about them. I forgot. Love that show, Gardening Australia. You've got gardening shows in Australia, and you in the UK?
In the UK.
In the UK. And you know what we have? We have a channel devoted to home and garden. There is not one garden show on this channel. The whole channel is called Home and Garden, and they don't have a single garden show. I can't figure that out. With all the people gardening in the United States, I can't think of any garden shows. You've got Nick Federoff, who's doing a local show in Los Angeles. So he's got a garden show. And then you've got P. Ellen Smith. He's kind of a garden show, but he's kind of like a little bit of everything. So he's not a true garden show. We have no garden shows.
You have to go to PBS to find gardening shows.
Pickling spices. Pickling spice. I haven't, I think I haven't bought that. That's that's my dad. That's what he uses. I'm going to have to get some pickling spice. Or grow it, find out exactly what spices are in there and grow it. That would be a thing to do.
But we've lacto-fermented or pickled a few different things, even eggplant.
We have done eggplant? I did do it last year? Okay, I couldn't remember. But I know I've done ginger. I think I've done ginger. I've done cabbage. I've done carrots, celery. Celery's always really good. What else have we done? We pickled. See, I forgot about the zucchini. I'll be honest. I totally was thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all the zucchini that's showing up? And then Facebook sent me the reminder of what I did last year. And it's like, oh yeah. So I started pickling that.
So if you've got an overabundance of something, you can look, Google it.
I can't read because of the glare. Beatrice?
Beatrice,
Beatrice, okay, because there's a glare on the screen.
It's true. No gardening show here in Florida.
Yeah, so you don't have in Florida where you grow so much, and here in this end, they grow so much. I can't understand. I don't want to put anybody down, but there's a lot of flippers and brothers redesigning homes, and that's like a home and garden show. And that's all the shows they've got are all these people buying houses, flipping houses, redesigning houses, and house hunters we have, but not one garden show. I mean, I don't understand why they don't have a garden show.
I think it's got to do with ratings and advertising. Who they can sell advertising to will generate what sort of shows they put on.
But even the PBS, they've only got Nick Federoff, and nobody else comes forward to do any gardening shows. I don't know. There needs to be more gardening shows, even one dedicated to kids. Get kids involved in this. I was a little kid growing in my backyard in LA. Yeah. I had a little garden patch I used to grow. That's right. And that's what we have to do. Is it Jeremiah?
Jeremiah.
I'm trying to, because it comes out lighter, so the glare is harder to read. Yeah, you have to go to YouTube.
Which is good.
Which is good. Fine. Then go to YouTube.
Well, some of these presenters on gardening shows are just reading a script or whatever. But on YouTube, you can find people that are actually out there doing things and learning by their own experience, not based on a script written by, the support staff for their show. So the YouTube is.
Well, that's why YouTube is getting so big. You can find everything and anything on YouTube, and I think that's great. Even on how to fix your camera, I was ready to go to YouTube to figure out what was going on with the camera. No, there is everything on YouTube. I'm just surprised with all the shows on TV that there isn't any gardening shows, and things more towards children even too. Okay, now we're getting quick.
Right, yeah. So Viviana Leon, she was here Sunday too. So two gardening show presenters asked for
flowers,
Florida.
but they're beautiful. And yeah, well, we have to grow flowers too, because the hummingbirds like flowers, and I planted a few flowers. The rabbits ate the flowers. They must taste good.
Borage. Yeah, we haven't tried borage for the bees, but that is a really good plant. It flowers for a long period of time. So at some point I'll end up getting some of these things to bring the bees in. I prefer YouTube over television. Yeah, that's kind of what we do now. We don't watch much TV at all. So most of what we watch is on YouTube.
Well, that's kind of what happened here. You weren't interested in a lot of the TV shows, and then my computer wasn't working, and you told me to get a new computer because I was having problems doing artwork. And then I gave you my computer, and you didn't want it, and then you ended up watching YouTube, and that's how you found John Kohler and Paul Gauci and everybody on YouTube.
Yeah. They're the people that I've learned from have been from YouTube.
Ashley, she prefers your YouTube over television. So do I.
Yeah.
And YouTube is I think they're getting bigger than TV now. I mean, you look at some of the shows they come and go. They bring on all these TV shows and they advertise them like this is the greatest thing, and they last for 4 shows and then they're gone. They're just totally gone because people aren't watching them.
Yeah. And it also gives you an opportunity to watch how people are doing it in different parts of the world.
Margaret's learned a lot from us and other people on YouTube.
Lois March, yeah, I remember her from her comments Sunday. I see and have subscribed to gardening shows. Gardening shows on TV are all the local or educational TV. Yes.
Well, what's good is you watch YouTube and you learn how somebody's doing it, and then you take it and you twist it what will work better for you. You don't necessarily have to do what anybody else does, because you might just do it a little differently that will work even better. And especially everybody's climate is different and everybody's personality is different. So you twist things to work for you. And that's what's so good is you can get ideas. It could be the smallest little idea you'll pick up from somebody, and may not even be the thing that they were making the YouTube video on, but you'll see something and go, wow, I can do that. And that's what's so exciting about that.
Yeah.
You're going to have to read that because I got a sun glare.
Okay. Well, Tracy Marie Wade said they don't want anyone to learn how to garden or become self-sustaining. Margaret Burns replied, good point, Tracy.
Yeah, that's a good chat going on.
Beatrice said, I really like the fact that you are recycling, reusing, and teaching how to grow veggies. I did the plant tea for my plants. It stinks, like you said, but hopefully my plants will be taking off soon.
I'm sorry. Well, I was just going to say on the plant tea, as soon as you put the leaves in and it starts to smell, use it. You can use it straight, or I would put it in a watering can or a bucket, add some water in it, and feed it to all your plants. It doesn't have to sit for weeks or anything. You just as soon as it starts to smell, it's ready to go. Dump it around, and boy, I've been doing that with the heat. And I was showing Gary how beautiful and green my garden is, even with the heat, because I'm feeding them as soon as it cools down. And then when it gets really hot, I don't feed them, because you don't want to feed the plants when it's really, really hot. And I'm going to say, knock on wood, the plants are doing really, really well, even in the heat. As I sit here, and they're probably frying out back. No, I hope not. Go ahead.
Yeah. Fug. Gardening Australia is a great show and probably good for Southern California. Laugh out loud. Anyone can access the show at the ABC. Yeah, ABC has a lot of their programming online, and that's the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, not ABC US. And that is a good place to look for Gardening Australia.
And they blocked us out for a while. I had to find another way in to go watch it. Remember, they were blocking out anybody that wasn't in Australia. And I contacted Koskas and told him that. And then I don't know what he did, but they finally let you go back in and see it.
Yeah,
because we watch Gardening Australia and Gardener's
World in the UK. We watch
with Monty and his dogs. Both of those shows are really, really good.
Yeah. And see, we watch a gardening show, Gardener's World in the UK, and we get ideas from the UK. So it's not always about climate. Sometimes it's about plant choices or techniques.
Techniques, that's true. And you learn about certain plants. You can do cuttings and stuff, but recycling, yes, I do recycle. I know people scream about newspaper. You don't really recycle a lot of newspaper, but if it's here, I don't have grocery papers. The ink here in the United States is fine, but I don't put a ton of it in there, just a little bit. And then usually, like I said, the mail that comes that you shred, it's got your name, address, all your wonderful information that if you throw it out, somebody steals it, they got your identity. Shred that, and I use that all the time. There's nothing bad in that. It's recycling is great. We pretty much put everything in there. Cooked food, raw food, it doesn't matter. It'll all break down. And somebody said something the other day, I can't remember, maybe it was a question on which ones are better. It's really the microbes that the plant is feeding on, and what's the microbes they're leaving behind. So it doesn't matter what's in it because they're feeding on that.
Yeah.
And if you're growing containers, put stuff around your containers where it's running out, because that's really rich tea coming out too. So you can grow all around your containers. I know I'm talking too much. Follow them on Facebook and Gardening Australia. Oh, we follow Gardening Australia on Facebook too. And we get it. He comes on live sometimes too.
Costa Georgiadis, we follow him, and we watch a lot of live shows. Like he went to Okinawa, Japan, and he's traveling around Australia showing a lot of things. So he actually is probably a really good one to follow on Facebook because he does a lot of traveling.
Yeah, he does travel, and he'll come on at all hours wherever he is, and you can see what he's doing and where he is.
Okay, good night, Margaret. Midnight in the UK.
Midnight, and you're up with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon, Margaret. I know we're not going to stay on too long because I think we stayed on too long Saturday, over an hour. We had like 60, I don't know, about 60 people, and they were coming and going with so many questions. And here we were just trying to test the camera and see if it even worked. Today, it took us 2 hours to get the camera to work.
Yeah, Sunday was good, and we got some response and feedback that some people missed us, but it's hard to get a good time, and people are watching from all over the world. So
okay, B, that's easier. I'm going to call you B.
Okay.
I'm trying to, is there anything else? I'm trying to think of what else we need.
No, that's pretty much it, I guess.
I guess we could end this and try this again maybe next Wednesday. Maybe I can schedule it because I know I'll get a lot of people coming in. I'll get a lot of people coming in later on that will say, oh, they didn't know and they missed it. I was just afraid to schedule it. I'm not quite ready to do that until I know everything's working, because I wouldn't want to schedule something and then we couldn't get it to work. Yeah, I know that happens.
Like if we scheduled it for noon today and we didn't get on until after 2:30 or whatever it was.
I know, 2.5 hours. We just couldn't, it kept telling us it couldn't find the camera, and then it said I didn't have a camera and I didn't have a mic, and everything was hooked up just like it was Sunday, so it worked fine. So that's it, I guess. I can't think of anything else. Hopefully I'll get some more wood chips soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah, you probably will. Going. You haven't even moved the wood chips you got.
No.
Oh, that is such a story. Someday I'm going to have to just sit here and tell the story. Oh my gosh. Like I said, he took my computer and all of a sudden he got really interested in it. And then he comes to me and says, you can find free stuff on there. I said, oh yeah, there's free stuff. Then he's telling me he's getting wood chips. I know you probably have seen the videos, some of you guys, I put up. And thank you for taking the time to spend. Oh,
spend with all it.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, babe.
Yeah, and that is, I'll still never forget the day he's bringing home all these wood chips, and he's going to change the land down all over where he can't grow. And he takes his little pickup truck and he builds sides, and he's running every afternoon with wood chips. And then he tells me to take a ride with him. And I said, when he goes, oh, the guy is so nice. Take a ride. He's got a great big bulldozer. What do you call it? A loader?
A loader.
A loader. And he's loading my truck for me. And he says, just take a ride. And I hate to be the wife that's not interested in what my husband's doing. So I take the ride. He drives me down this guy's house, and there's a mountain that looks like Mount Everest in this guy's yard. No joke. I would not be able to climb it. It was so tall. And I get out of the truck, and I'm looking. He goes, look, he told me I could have it all. And I'm going, oh, my gosh. The guy found somebody to take this away, and he's trying to get rid of it? Are you kidding me? I couldn't believe it. The mountain he had, that was the funniest thing. Oh my gosh. And I asked, how did he end up with it? Because he told a tree trimmer he'll take all he's got. Oh my gosh. And he had chickens, and he had I don't know what he was doing with the wood chips.
Yeah, he had an amazing lawn, and he was actually putting the wood chips on his lawn, and he had a mulching lawnmower, a push lawnmower. I remember
that, but he had his lawn was an acre. No joke.
And I would say that he had some money, but his kids had chores to do. And I was over there one day, and his daughter was mowing the front lawn with a push lawnmower. And
Don't tell me, tell them.
With a push lawnmower. So even though he had money, he was still doing things. But yeah, he put it on his lawn, and he's got the best lawn I've ever really seen in Southern California. It looked like it was a park. It was so well maintained.
He had a mountain in his yard.
But he had a mountain of wood chips.
You've got cousins in Tasmania.
Yeah, I've got two cousins and an aunt in Tasmania, and yeah, I never made it there, but yeah, they live in Tasmania. It's totally different climate. One of my cousins has planted some oak trees to grow some, I'm trying to think, the fungals.
Mushrooms?
Not mushrooms.
Truffles?
Truffles, yeah. She planted some oak trees because she's planning on growing truffles. That'll take a while. Truffles, yes. Yeah, not the chocolate ones, the fungal ones.
I'm a chocoholic.
So the climate, I guess, is good in Tasmania for growing truffles, and they grow under oak trees. So she's planting oak trees up. I don't know how long that would be a long-term project, I imagine.
Probably. Does she have land?
Yeah, she's got some land.
She's got land. Okay. So how's the weather in Tasmania?
I'm going to roughly say it's kind of like the Pacific Northwest, say Washington State. The weather is kind of, you could have 3 seasons in one day or something. You know, it's kind of like it could be warm, and then an hour later it could be cold.
And that's like Montana. It can be warm and then freezing.
Yeah.
In certain places in the Midwest.
Well, because it's wet. Because it's surrounded by water, it is wet.
I like it warm. Dry is nice. A little bit of humidity is okay. Florida, I think, would be too humid for me, but I like the warm weather. I've always liked the warm weather. So I don't have a problem with the heat. I can go outside and work in the hot sun. The sun doesn't bother me. If it gets cold, then I'm hiding. I don't like the cold. That I don't like. I can't think of anything else offhand today. Maybe next week I'll sit here and make tea, my tea. I think everybody needs to grow mint. It's 25 Celsius all year round.
All year round.
Oh, is that good?
Yeah, I'm looking at it's about 70, let's say 75 degrees year round.
Washington. I remember I was on a plane once going to Washington.
I am in Washington
State. And I leaned over
to look out. Tassie appeals to me. Okay.
Yeah, I leaned out to look out the window, and I think it was February because Craig had told me, oh, it's not raining. It's beautiful. He lied to me. And I said to myself, I didn't know the guy was listening. I said, gee, I wonder when it's going to stop raining. And the guy leans over and says, whispers in my ear, June. I thought, oh my gosh, who wants to live in all that water? It was wet the whole time I was there.
Yeah, Washington State's had a heat wave, and it's been.
But it says 30s.
Hang on,
Wait a minute. You're
okay. Western Australia.
Oh,
okay.
Western Australia. Where I thought you were talking about Washington. That's Washington.
Yeah, WA state.
Oh, that's not
okay.
That's not Washington. Wrong Washington.
Wrong Washington.
Sorry.
Yeah, we had a WA Sunday, and I wasn't sure whether it was Washington, US, or Western Australia, and I said they were both on the West Coast. So, yeah,
so
it's
wrong Washington.
Wrong Washington.
Oh, Washington's too wet for me. The state.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like it the way we have it, except we do need a little more rain, and we haven't been getting a lot. The weather's changed. The weather has changed for the past 20, 30 years, because I used to go around in the winter and wear thermal underwear. I was always so cold, and I haven't worn that in over 20 years. It's amazing. The weather has changed. Even in the winter, it's been quite warm. Time to make dinner. Yes, I think we're going to let you go.
He is in Washington State, not.
Oh, you are in Washington State.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we need the rain badly.
Okay. Have a good dinner, Ashley. Not Western Australia. Yep.
Oh, Washington State.
Washington State.
Okay.
So it
is wet there.
Yeah. So let's see.
Not Western Australia. He's got Australia on the mind.
No. Yep. No, he's thinking Tasmania. So it's.
And England is boiling and having a heat wave, which we know. That's Vivian?
Viviana.
Viviana. Tacoma, it rains about 7 months. Yeah, I know. I could not live in the rain. That much rain. My daughter could. She loves the rain. The kids love the rain. They all stand out in the rain. And me, I don't like the rain. I hide. Even here in California, as soon as it rains, all work stops. Remember, you couldn't believe that. You would see everybody pulls everything in. They're done working. And you go, why are they not working today? Is it because it's raining? They always stop. Nobody works in the rain. Construction, everything stops usually here in the rain.
Okay, he was speaking in centigrade, so nearly 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, Washington State's having a heat wave, and 90 is really hot.
Yeah, and I don't think they have air conditioning out there.
No, they have. If you don't need it, why would you install air conditioning?
Yeah. Well, they save money. Gosh, it's expensive to run air conditioning. Don't have anything else to say right now. I don't know what anybody wants me to answer. I've got so many questions on hummingbirds and ants, how to get rid of ants, and just growing things, putting together something on cucumbers. That's what I'm working on right now. And you're working on a video on, I don't know.
Right now I'm working on the purple yam ube video. That's what I was working on last night.
I need to get some cooked and see if I can make a powder out of it. You've got so much of it. You've literally probably got hundreds and hundreds of pounds of that stuff down in the ground.
Yeah, certainly have.
Growing. No AC at all in Washington. Yeah. Wow.
So you combine the 90 with probably humidity. If it's Western Washington, coastal Washington, it's going to be fairly humid too. So it might be 90, but it's going to feel like 95.
Like 100. You're in a sauna.
Yeah.
A total sauna. Wow. Well, I think we've bored you for an hour.
Yeah,
but I got my pickles done. I've got my zucchini done, and I might make a couple more jars. And I've got all this zucchini. Do not pick your zucchini this big. It's really too big. But you can still cut it up, and you can still bake it. You can still shred it. You can still do everything. Just, I don't eat the seeds. I take the seeds out on that. You really do want to pick your zucchini when it's small, even smaller than that. I've got I forget. You look at it and you go, oh, it's small. And then you go 2 days later and it's like this size. It grows overnight. So keep an eye on your zucchini if you're growing zucchini. But we'll try this again. Hopefully we won't have any camera problems. And
We'll,
bye, everybody. And
we'll try to bounce the hours around a little bit.
yeah, we'll
so
see what hours work better. I couldn't believe Sunday. I watched Roberto. I can't think of his name.
Roberto Blake.
Okay, Roberto Blake. I watched him, and he said Sunday was good because nobody was there. So I figured we'd try our camera, and it was like, wow. So Sunday was, I guess, turned out to be really, really good. But yeah, for us, we were still trying to figure out the camera. Today we had nothing but camera problems. So we'll try it again. We could try different times and see what works out better. And maybe this winter, you wanted a recipe, I'll probably do cooking and just turn on the camera and you can just be in the house with me while I'm cooking in the winter.
Yep.
That sounds good. So everybody have a wonderful day or night, evening. And anything else you need?
Oh, I guess Rose.
In the Inland Empire, not far.
So the J is either a J or a H. Jacome or Jacome. Her son started to compost around her fig tree, and they finally got figs this year.
Oh my gosh.
And that is a really good tip. I'll pick some special fruit, the chocolate sapoti, and we'll talk about that one day.
Okay, but she's on the fig trees. Yes, I took those 3 fig trees, put them up against the wall, put 3 compost bins, the way I compost, in place right next to them. And everybody was calling us liars because in 1 year, they were, 15, 20 feet tall.
Yep.
And I've got 2 other fig trees growing in another area with no compost bins, and they're still real tiny.
Well, mine are about the same size of yours, but they're the same age. One of them's the same size, but I didn't compost around them.
So no figs?
No fruit.
Yeah, the figs, and they must be heavy feeders or they really enjoy that. But just set up a compost bin, even if you don't want to grow in it, just take one of those tubs, set it up, start throwing all kinds of stuff, leaves and anything. Throw some. Well, the paper creates carbon in there. And the leaves, this way it won't compact down to nothing. The leaves and the paper help keep it, let's use the word fluffy. It keeps it so there's air pockets for earthworms and different things to live in. And so you just throw everything in there, paper and leaves and rotting fruit, food you didn't eat out of the refrigerator, all kinds of stuff. And the plants go wild. Anything else?
Just one. Angie Garcia. Can she use cucumber leaves to compost in place?
Yeah, you can use any leaves. I haven't had any cucumber leaves fall off yet. They're so big and beautiful. Absolutely. Cucumbers, any leaves, and any leaves you can put in there, but cucumber leaves would be really good. My favorite leaves to compost is collard. I think because collard is just, there's something in collard or cabbages that really break down and really stink. But yes, you can, for the compost in place, absolutely. I go around my garden, I clean my garden up. I collect the leaves. I collect all the greens that are coming off, all the different kales, all the different, the Swiss chard, red and green. Any of the leaves, I just take the yellowing leaves off, put it in the bucket, and just dump it in a compost bin. And it all works. It all works really good.
Yeah. Well, with that, we were the first to arrive, and we're going to be the last to leave, I guess, if we get going. I guess.
Oh, you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, I guess we should say
I know
goodbye.
You've got things to do. Okay, so we're going to end this stream. We're going to say goodbye. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for the support. And this is good. If we don't have the answers, I've figured out that some of the people watching will have the answers. And
a lot of people have great answers, and they can answer where we can't.
Yep.
So have a great day, and thanks for coming, and we'll try this again. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.
It's too long. So we peaked